Ha! Bloody brambles!
A Plague Tale Requiem. Imagine a game set in medieval France, but it's absolutely overrun with rats. Like millions of rats. Swarming, overwhelming, terrifying rats. That's A Plague Tale Requiem. It's a stealth action game, but it's also a deeply emotional story about family, survival, and the horrors of the plague. You play Amicia, and her little brother Hugo is still the focus. He's got this connection to the rats, and it's both a blessing and a curse. The story picks up where the first game left off, and it's just as intense, if not more so. They're trying to find a cure for Hugo's condition, but they're constantly on the run from both the Inquisition and the literal waves of rats. What makes this game so good is the atmosphere. It's dark, it's gritty, and it's incredibly tense. The environments are beautifully realized, but they're also filled with danger. You're constantly sneaking around, trying to avoid guards, and trying to manage the rat swarms. And those rats, they're genuinely terrifying. They're not just a background detail, they're a constant threat. They can overwhelm you in seconds if you're not careful. The gameplay is a mix of stealth, puzzle solving, and a little bit of combat. Amicia isn't a warrior, she's resourceful, she uses her slingshot, her wits, and the environment to her advantage. You're often trying to find ways to manipulate the rats using fire and light to create paths and avoid being devoured. Plague Tale Requiem is a longer game than the first one, and it expands on the story and the gameplay in some really interesting ways. It's a challenging game, but it's also incredibly rewarding. It's a game that will stay with you long after you've finished playing it. If you enjoyed the first game, you absolutely have to play this one. It's a fantastic continuation of the story, and it's a truly memorable experience.
I'll teach you to kill my head.
Gears of War 1. So Gears of War, the original, the one that started it all, this game was a huge deal when it came out. It basically defined a generation of shooters. It was gritty, it was brutal, and it introduced this really cool cover-based system that everyone started copying. Imagine this, you're Marcus Phoenix, a soldier in a desperate war against these creatures called the Locust. They're these monstrous underground-dwelling aliens, and they basically overrun the planet. Humanity is on its last legs. The story is pretty straightforward. You're trying to survive, you're trying to push back the Locust horde, and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It's a pretty bleak and desperate setting. What made Gears so revolutionary was the cover system. It wasn't just about hiding behind stuff, it was about strategically moving from cover to cover, flanking enemies, and using your teammates to your advantage. It made firefights feel really tactical. You couldn't just run and gun, you had to think about your positioning. And the active reload mechanic was genius. It added this extra layer of skill to reloading your weapons. Perfect timing could give you a damage boost. The game was also incredibly visceral. The violence was, well, it was intense. Chainsaw, bayonets, exploding heads, gruesome enemy designs. It was definitely not for the faint of heart. But it fit the tone of the game perfectly. It was a brutal war, and the game didn't shy away from showing it. The co-op was also a huge part of the appeal. Playing through the campaign with a friend was an awesome experience. Covering each other, coordinating attacks, reviving each other. It made the game even more intense and fun.
At the midpoint on the journey of life, I found myself in a dark forest, for the clear path was lost.
Dante's Inferno. This game is basically the Divine Comedy, you know, the poem by Dante, but turned into a crazy action game. It's not exactly a faithful adaptation, let's put it that way. It's more like they took the basic idea and then went wild with it. You play Dante, but he's not just some poet wandering through hell. He's a total badass warrior, and he's on a mission to rescue his girlfriend Beatrice, who's been snatched by Lucifer. So Dante's got to fight his way through all 9 circles of hell to get her back. The story is, well, it's not Shakespeare, but it gives you a good enough reason to go around beating up demons. It's more of a vehicle for the action, really. What makes this game fun is the combat. It's a hack and slash game, kind of like God of War or Devil May Cry, but it's got its own thing going on. You've got your standard attacks, combos, and special moves, all that good stuff, but you also have these holy and unholy powers. You can choose to punish enemies or absolve them, which is a neat little touch. It adds a bit of strategy to the fighting. It's not just about killing, it's about choosing how you kill.
This is the
And the visuals, they're pretty intense. Hell is depicted as this totally messed up, grotesque place. Think twisted creatures, disturbing imagery, and just general creepiness. It's definitely not a game for kids or anyone who's easily offended, but it fits the theme, right? It's hell, it's supposed to be awful. The art style is really distinctive, and it definitely adds to the game's atmosphere.
All right, Lara.
That bridge is swarming.
Tomb Raider, 2013. This game is a reboot of the old Tomb Raider games, but it's not just a rehash. It's a whole new take on Lara Croft, and it tells her origin story. It shows how she becomes the Lara Croft we all know. She's not some super confident, gun-toting adventurer from the get-go. She's actually scared and inexperienced at the start. It's a survival story, and it's a pretty compelling one. What makes this Tomb Raider so good is Lara's character development. You really see her grow and change throughout the game. She goes through a lot, both physically and emotionally. She gets shipwrecked, she has to fight for her life, and she faces some really tough choices. It's not just about her finding treasure, it's about her becoming a survivor. And because she starts out so vulnerable, you really connect with her struggles. She feels more real, more human. She's not just some invincible action hero. She has to earn it. The gameplay is a great mix of different things. There's exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. The island setting is beautiful, but it's also dangerous. There are tons of hidden areas to discover, and it's fun to explore and find all the secrets. The climbing and traversal mechanics are really smooth and enjoyable. It feels great to swing, jump, and climb around the island. And the combat, while not super innovative, is challenging and satisfying. You have to use cover, you have to be smart about your attacks, and it can be pretty intense. It's a good balance of different gameplay elements. Tomb Raider 2013 is a must-play for fans of action-adventure games. It's a fantastic origin story that does justice to the iconic Lara Croft character. It's a great example of how to reboot a classic franchise and make it feel fresh and relevant. Firewatch. It's a really different kind of game. It's not about shooting or fighting or anything like that. It's more about, well, it's about talking to someone and exploring. You play this guy, Henry, and he takes a job as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness. So you're all alone in this tower, and your only contact with the outside world is this radio. You talk to another lookout, Delilah, and that's basically the whole game.
Hello? Whoever this is?
It's Henry, right?
Yeah.
I'm Delilah.
Yeah, that's what the guy said on the phone.
You're walking around the forest, exploring and talking to Delilah on the radio. She's your only connection to another person, and you get to know her really well through these conversations. They're funny, they're personal, and they feel really real. It's like you're actually talking to a friend. The setting is really cool too. The Wyoming wilderness is beautiful. It's a big open area, and it's fun to just wander around and see what you can find. There's this sense of isolation, being all alone in the woods, but it's also kind of peaceful. It's a really immersive environment. As you're exploring, you start to uncover a mystery. It's not a big action-packed mystery, but it's intriguing. It keeps you wondering what's going on. But honestly, the mystery is almost secondary to the relationship between Henry and Delilah. That's what makes the game so special. Firewatch is a short game. You can probably finish it in a few sittings, but it's a memorable experience. It's a unique game, and it's a great example of how video games can tell really personal and intimate stories. If you're looking for something different, something that's more about atmosphere and character interaction, you should definitely check it out. It's a game that stays with you after you've finished play. It's not about the action, it's about the connection you make with Delilah and the world around you.
Good. Thanks for going down there.
You know what I need? Some heels without guns.
Bayonetta 2. This game is just pure crazy action. It's so over the top, it's ridiculous, but it's also so much fun. You play Bayonetta, who's a witch, and she uses her hair as weapons. Yeah, you heard that right, her hair. And she can transform into all sorts of crazy creatures. The story is, well, it's kind of wild, but it's not really the point. This game is all about the action. What makes Bayonetta 2 so good is the fighting. It's really deep and complex, and it takes some time to learn all the combos and moves, but once you get the hang of it, it's so satisfying. You can chain together all these attacks, dodge enemy hits with Witch Time, which slows down time, and unleash these huge special moves. It's not just about winning the fights, it's about looking cool while doing it. It's all about style. The game also looks amazing. It's got this really unique art style. It's kind of elegant, but also totally over the top. The characters look great, and the levels are really creative and visually impressive. Even when there's a ton of stuff happening on screen, it still looks good. It's just a really stylish game. Honestly, Bayonetta 2 is just a blast to play. It's challenging, but it's also really rewarding. It's the kind of game where you can just turn off your brain and enjoy the spectacle. If you like action games, you should definitely give it a try. It's a wild ride from beginning to end. It's just pure, unadulterated fun. It's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's all the better for it. Detroit Become Human. This game is a bit different from your usual video game. It's more like an interactive movie, really. You're not just shooting stuff or jumping around, you're making choices that actually change the story. You play as 3 different androids in Detroit, and their stories are all connected. There's Connor, who's this police android. He's programmed to hunt down other androids that have become deviant, which means they've started to develop feelings. Then there's Marcus, who becomes the leader of a whole android revolution, fighting for their rights. And finally, there's Kara, who's an android trying to protect a little girl from her abusive owner. So you're juggling these 3 different perspectives, and they all have their own struggles. What's really cool about Detroit is how much your choices matter. Even small decisions can have a big impact on what happens later. Characters can live or die depending on what you do, and there are tons of different endings. It really makes you think about the choices you're making because they have real consequences. It's not just about getting to the end, it's about how you get there.
You saved us. Quick, run!
The game looks amazing too, the graphics are really detailed and the actors do a great job. The motion capture and voice acting are top-notch, so the characters feel really believable. It's almost like you're watching a movie, but you're also in control of what happens. It's a very cinematic experience. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. If you're looking for a fast-paced action game, this probably isn't it. But if you enjoy story-driven games with meaningful choices and you like to ponder philosophical questions, then Detroit Become Human is definitely worth checking out.
God. Any idea where the pharmacy keys might be?
The Telltale Walking Dead Season 1. Man, this game, it's not just a zombie game, it's a story. A really, really good story. It's a point-and-click adventure game, which might sound a bit old school, but trust me, it's something special. You play Lee Everett, he's got a pretty messed up past, and then boom, zombie apocalypse. And on top of that, he ends up having to look after this little girl, Clementine. What makes this game so powerful is the relationship between Lee and Clementine. It's like a father-daughter thing, and it's incredibly emotional. You genuinely care about Clementine. You want to protect her, you want to teach her, and you feel responsible for her, and the choices you make as Lee directly affect how Clementine grows and how she sees the world. It's a huge weight on your shoulders as a player, and it makes the whole experience so much more impactful. It's not just about surviving, it's about shaping Clementine's future. The story itself is just, wow, it's gripping, it's unpredictable, and it's full of twists and turns. You never know what's gonna happen next, and the characters are so well developed. It's not just about the zombies, it's about the people, how they react to this insane situation, how they deal with loss, how they try to survive. It's a very human story, even though it's set in a world full of undead. It explores some pretty heavy themes like morality, survival, and what it means to be a good person in a bad situation. The gameplay is pretty simple. You mostly make choices in dialogue and during quick-time events. But those choices, they have real consequences. They change the story, they affect the characters, and they determine the ending. It really feels like your decisions matter, and that makes the game so much more engaging. You're not just watching the story unfold, you're actively shaping it.
Son of a
Evil West. Evil West is a third-person action game that throws you into a wild, blood-soaked version of the American frontier. You play as Jesse Rentier, a vampire hunter working for a secret organization tasked with keeping supernatural threats in check. It's part cowboy adventure, part monster-slaying mayhem, with a mix of brutal combat and a pulpy story to tie it all together. The combat is fast, brutal, and focused on variety. You'll wield a mix of weapons, from revolvers and rifles to a powerful gauntlet that lets you electrify enemies or smash them into pieces. The game encourages close quarters brawling with punches, dodges, and finishers feeling as satisfying as the gunplay. It's all about chaining combos and using the environment to your advantage, keeping every encounter dynamic. Evil West doesn't hold back on spectacle. You'll face grotesque monsters from vampiric horrors to massive bosses, all while battling through detailed environments like eerie forests, old mines, and crumbling towns. The world is rich with Wild West vibes but leans heavily into dark supernatural twists. The story is straightforward but engaging, leaning into its campy action movie tone. Jesse is a no-nonsense protagonist, and his interactions with allies and enemies add a bit of grit and humor to the experience. The game also includes a co-op mode, letting you team up with a friend to take on the hordes together. It's a nice addition that makes the combat even more chaotic and fun. Evil West is perfect if you're looking for a game that's all about satisfying combat, over-the-top action, and a unique setting. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but it delivers a fun, polished experience that's easy to jump into and hard to put down. If you're into games like Doom or God of War, this one's worth a look. Prototype. Prototype is a game that lets you unleash pure chaos in the most satisfying way. You play as Alex Mercer, a man who wakes up with no memory of who he is or how he got infected with a virus that gives him superhuman abilities. As you uncover the truth behind the virus in Alex's past, you take on an entire city filled with soldiers, infected creatures, and innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. The gameplay is where Prototype shines. It's all about power and freedom. Alex's abilities let you run up skyscrapers, glide through the air, and destroy pretty much anything in your path. You can morph your body into deadly weapons, a giant blade, hammer fists, or even claws and tear through enemies with brutal efficiency. The combat is fast-paced and chaotic, with tons of enemies on screen at once, pushing you to use every trick in your arsenal. The open world setting of New York City is your playground. You can roam the city, cause mayhem, or tackle the story missions at your own pace. Whether it's launching cars at helicopters or hijacking tanks, the game constantly throws over-the-top action your way. The story is dark and gritty, focusing on themes of betrayal, revenge, and survival. Alex isn't your typical hero, he's more of an anti-hero, and his brutal methods reflect that. As you dive deeper into the conspiracy, the plot keeps you engaged with its twists and reveals. One of the standout features is the ability to consume enemies, which lets you take on their appearance and absorb their memories. It's a clever mechanic that ties into both the story and gameplay, allowing for stealth approaches when brute force isn't the best option. Prototype is a game that thrives on letting you feel unstoppable. It's not about precision or realism, it's about pure power and the thrill of tearing through everything in your way. If you're in the mood for an action-packed, chaotic open-world experience, this one delivers. Bioshock Infinite. Bioshock Infinite is one of those games that stays with you long after the credits roll. You play as Booker DeWitt, tasked with finding Elizabeth in the floating city of Columbia, but the real hook here isn't just the gunplay or the setting, it's the story. This game takes you on a wild ride through alternate realities, and by the end it leaves you questioning everything. Columbia is beautifully twisted. On the surface, it's this bright, utopian city floating in the clouds, but as you explore, you quickly realize it's full of dark secrets, racism, classism, and an undercurrent of revolution bubbling up. The way the game peels back the layers of Columbia's seemingly perfect world is one of its strongest points. Combat is fast-paced with some unique twists thanks to Vigors, which are basically magical powers that let you do things like shoot fire, throw enemies into the air, or summon crows to attack. But honestly, what really keeps you engaged is the relationship between Booker and Elizabeth. She's not just some damsel in distress, she's a fully developed character with her own agency, and the bond you build with her throughout the game is powerful. Then there's the ending. Without giving anything away, it's one of the most mind-bending twists I've ever seen in a game. It's the kind of ending that makes you want to sit back and rethink everything you just played through. Bioshock Infinite is a blend of intense action, a gripping narrative, and a world that feels alive and dangerous. It's absolutely worth your time and money if you're looking for a game that delivers both on gameplay and a story that'll make your head spin. Petro 2033. Metro 2033 is a game that takes you into a dark and scary world. It's set in Moscow after a nuclear disaster where people live in underground metro tunnels because the surface is too dangerous. You play as Artyom, a young guy trying to save his home from strange creatures called the Dark Ones. The game feels super real. The tunnels are dark and creepy with weird noises and shadows everywhere. When you go outside, it's even worse. The surface is full of monsters, radioactive air, and ruins. You have to wear a gas mask, and if the filters run out, you're in big trouble. The combat is all about survival. You don't have a lot of bullets, so you have to use them wisely. Sometimes you might even use bullets as money to buy better gear. It's not just about shooting. Managing your flashlight, gas mask, and ammo is just as important. What makes this game special is how it pulls you into its world. The Metro feels alive, with people struggling to survive, telling stories, and trying to hold on to hope. The story is intense and makes you care about what happens to Artyom and the people around him. Metro 2033 isn't just a shooter, it's a game about surviving in a tough, broken world. If you like games with a strong story and a creepy, realistic setting, this one is worth playing. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is a beautiful game about two brothers. Their dad is very sick, so they go on a big journey to find a cure. The game doesn't use many words to tell the story. You see the story happen through what the brothers do and the places they go. The way you play is really fun. You control both brothers at the same time, one with each thumbstick. They have to work together to solve puzzles. For example, one might pull a lever while the other climbs or sneaks past something. It's simple but feels really clever. The world they explore is full of amazing and sad things. You'll see big mountains, quiet forests, and strange creatures. Every place feels special, and there are little moments that make you stop and think. The best part is how the brothers care about each other. They help each other, and you can feel how much they love their family. The ending is very sad, but also very beautiful. It's the kind of story you won't forget. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is not a long game, but it's so special. If you like games with a lot of heart and a fun way to play, you should try it. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is pure, over-the-top action from start to finish. You play as Raiden, a cyborg ninja who can slice through pretty much anything, and I mean anything. This game is all about fast combat, crazy boss fights, and just having a blast.
Self-taught.
The story is wild. It's set in the Metal Gear universe, but it's way more focused on action than stealth. Raiden is taking on a group of rogue cyborgs and giant robots, and the whole thing is packed with ridiculous moments that feel like a big-budget action movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which makes it even more fun. The combat is what makes this game so good. You use Raiden's sword to slice through enemies with precision, and it feels incredible. You can literally cut enemies and objects into tiny pieces. The parry system is super important. You'll need to time it right to block attacks and turn the fight in your favor. It's fast, flashy, and just plain fun. The bosses are some of the best parts of the game. Each one is unique with insane designs and epic music that makes every fight feel huge. The soundtrack is full of adrenaline-pumping rock tracks that make you want to keep pushing forward. The game isn't very long, but it's packed with intense moments and replay value. You'll want to go back to try higher difficulties or just to master the combat. It's one of those games that makes you feel unstoppable once you get the hang of it. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is perfect if you're looking for something fast, exciting, and completely over the top. It's all about having fun, and it delivers that in every way.
Finish that bastard!
The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf Among Us is an incredible story-driven game with a dark and unique vibe. You play as Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, a hidden community where fairy tale characters live in the real world. But this isn't your usual fairy tale. It's gritty, mysterious, and full of tough choices. The story kicks off with a brutal murder, and it's up to Bigby to solve the case. The deeper you dig, the more you uncover about the darker side of Fabletown. The writing is top-notch with twists and turns that keep you hooked all the way through. Every decision you make matters, changing how characters see Bigby and how the story unfolds. The characters are what make this game so special. You'll meet familiar faces like Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and others, but they're not like you remember from the books. They're flawed, complicated, and trying to survive in a rough world. Bigby himself is a fantastic lead, torn between his dangerous past as the Big Bad Wolf and his desire to do the right thing. The gameplay is simple but works perfectly for the story. It's all about making choices, talking to characters, and exploring crime scenes to find clues. There are also some action scenes, but the focus is on the narrative. The art style is amazing, with a bold comic book look that fits the tone perfectly. The Wolf Among Us is one of Telltale's best games. It's short, intense, and filled with moments you'll be thinking about long after it ends. If you love mystery, great characters, and stories where your choices matter, this is a game you can't miss.
Game, another round of row your boat.
As Dusk Falls. Okay, now hear me out. Maybe looking at the graphics, you may not like this, but As Dusk Falls is not like most games, but it's one of those stories that stays with you long after you play it. It feels more like a really good TV drama, except you're the one making all the big choices. The game is about two families whose lives are changed forever after a robbery goes wrong in a small Arizona town. It's full of tension, emotions, and decisions that make you think,
I'd give it all to charity. No, you wouldn't.
The art style might seem strange at first. The characters and scenes look like paintings, almost like a graphic novel that moves. But once you start playing, it works so well. The style makes the game feel unique and helps you focus on the story and emotions of the characters. It's different, but that's part of what makes it special. The gameplay is simple. You make choices and conversations and do quick actions when something big happens. There's no fighting or running around. It's all about making decisions and seeing how they change the story. What's amazing is how much your choices matter. Even small decisions can lead to big consequences, and you'll see how those choices affect the characters even years later. The story is broken into chapters and covers years of these characters' lives. You'll face tough decisions like risking someone's life to save another or deciding who to trust. It's not always easy, but that's what makes it so good. The game makes you care about the characters, even the ones you might not like at first. Everyone feels real, with their own struggles and dreams. What's cool is that you can play alone or with friends. If you play with others, everyone can vote on what decisions to make, which can lead to some fun arguments about what to do next. It's a great way to experience the game with others. As Dusk Falls might feel different from other games, but it's worth sticking with. The story is powerful, the characters feel real, and the choices you make keep you hooked. If you love games that focus on emotions, relationships, and tough decisions, this is one you shouldn't miss. What Remains of Edith Finch? What Remains of Edith Finch is one of the most beautiful and emotional games you'll ever play. It's not about action or fighting, it's about exploring a story one piece at a time and feeling connected to the characters. It's short, but it's an experience that stays with you. You play as Edith Finch, the last member of a family with a mysterious past. You return to the old Finch house to uncover the stories of your family members. The house is strange, with secret passages and rooms frozen in time. As you explore, you learn about each family member through small, interactive stories. Every story is different, both in how it's told and how it feels. The gameplay is simple. You walk through the house, finding objects that lead to a memory or story, but what makes it special is how creative and unique each story is. One moment you're flying like a bird, and the next you're working in a factory while daydreaming about being a king. Each story reflects the life and personality of that family member, and some of them are happy, while others are really sad. The art and music are beautiful, the house feels alive with so much detail that you'll want to stop and look at everything. The music matches the tone perfectly, making the happy moments feel joyful and the sad moments even more powerful. The game is short, only a few hours long, but it's packed with emotion. By the end, you feel like you've lived through the Finch family's history. It's a game that's less about what you do and more about how it makes you feel. What Remains of Edith Finch is perfect for anyone who loves games with strong stories and creative ways of telling them. It's different, emotional, and an experience you won't forget.
Look out for any suspicious individuals.
Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is a super fun and exciting game that's all about music and action. You play as Chai, a guy who dreams of being a rock star. After a weird experiment, his music player gets stuck in his chest, and now the whole world moves to the beat of the music. It's bright, funny, and so much fun to play. The gameplay is all about fighting to the rhythm. You don't have to hit every beat perfectly, but if you time your attacks with the music, it feels amazing. The combos are flashy, the finishers are epic, and the boss battles are some of the coolest parts of the game. Each boss fight is unique, with great designs and music that gets you pumped up. The soundtrack is a mix of original songs and real ones, and they all fit perfectly. The music keeps you energized, whether you're in a fight or just running around. The game's art style is like a cartoon. It's colorful, smooth, and makes everything look so alive. It feels like you're playing a Saturday morning show. The story is fun and doesn't take itself too seriously. Chai is goofy and lovable, and the friends he makes along the way are just as fun. Together, they're taking on a big evil company, and it's a blast to see how everything unfolds. Hi-Fi Rush is great for anyone who loves action games and music. It's different, full of energy, and just plain fun. If you want a game that feels fresh and exciting, this is one you should play. Children of the Sun. Let's talk about Children of the Sun, a game that's all about strategy, precision, and a little bit of revenge. You play as the girl, a lone sniper on a mission to take down a sinister cult that's responsible for her loss. But this isn't your typical shooter. It's more like a puzzle game where you get one bullet per level, and it's up to you to figure out how to make it count. The gameplay is where Children of the Sun really shines. You guide your bullet through intricate environments, taking out enemies, triggering traps, and sometimes even manipulating the level itself to reach your goal. The best part? The bullet isn't just a straight shot. You can curve it around corners, speed it up to break through armor, or re-aim after it hits something. It's all about finding the most creative and efficient way to solve each level. The story is told through minimalist, hand-drawn cutscenes that give the game a gritty, mysterious vibe. It's not heavy on dialogue, but it doesn't need to be. The focus is on the atmosphere and the personal stakes of your mission. Visually, the game has this old-school, high-contrast aesthetic that makes the levels pop. It's simple but effective, keeping the focus on the gameplay without unnecessary distractions. That said, some areas can feel a bit too dark, which might make it tricky to spot certain details, but it doesn't take away from the overall experience. If you're into games that challenge your brain as much as your reflexes, Children of the Sun is a unique mix of tactical sniping and puzzle solving that's worth checking out. It's clever, rewarding, and definitely one of those games that flies under the radar, but deserves more attention.
People are getting infected all the time. They just do a good job of hiding it.
Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't just a game, it's an emotional experience that sticks with you long after the credits roll. You play as Joel, a hardened survivor in a post-apocalyptic world, trying to make it through a brutal life where every day is a fight for survival. But what makes this game hit hard is the relationship between Joel and Ellie, a young girl he's tasked with escorting across the country. It's not about saving the world, it's about the bond that grows between them in the middle of all the chaos. The world is dark and unforgiving, and damn, it feels like you're always on edge. The infected are terrifying, but sometimes the real threat comes from other survivors who will do whatever it takes to stay alive. The atmosphere is heavy, and the game doesn't shy away from showing just how bleak everything is, but amidst all the violence and tension, there are moments of real warmth between Joel and Ellie that make everything feel human. So their relationship is the heart of the story, and it's honestly what makes the game so unforgettable. The gameplay mixes intense combat with quiet, nerve-wracking exploration. Supplies are scarce, and you've got to be smart about how you approach each encounter. Sometimes sneaking past enemies is your best option because going in guns blazing is usually a quick way to get killed. The combat feels gritty and real. Every hit, every shot, it all feels like it matters. And when you're fighting for your life, the tension is off the charts. Visually, the remastered version of The Last of Us looks stunning. The environments are detailed and the post-apocalyptic world feels both haunting and strangely beautiful. Overgrown cities, abandoned buildings, everything looks like the world has moved on and nature is reclaiming what's left. The facial animations, especially with Joel and Ellie, make every emotional beat hit even harder. You can see every ounce of pain, fear, and hope in their expressions. If you're into story-driven games that dig deep into human emotions, The Last of Us Part 1 is a must-play. It's a roller coaster of heartbreak, tension, and hope, wrapped up in one of the most memorable stories in gaming. Just be ready for a heavy ride because this game doesn't pull any punches.
Seriously flying into that.
You say the weather patterns have set.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of those games that catches you off guard in the best possible way. If you're thinking it's just another superhero game, think again. This one delivers a linear story-driven experience that's packed with heart, humor, and some genuinely epic moments. And honestly, it nails the Guardians vibe perfectly. You play as Star-Lord, but you're not flying solo here. The whole team, Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax, are right there with you the entire time, throwing out banter, jokes, and even some surprisingly deep moments.
Shoot first, questions later!
Drop him, Gamora!
The writing here? Top-notch. It feels like you're in a Guardians movie, with all the sarcasm, bickering, and hilarious one-liners you'd expect. But it's not just all fun and games, there are some serious emotional moments that hit you out of nowhere.
Well, Rocket's definitely scarier on the inside.
I also vote for the creepy little beast.
The gameplay is solid too. It's action-packed, and while you're controlling Star-Lord, you're also constantly giving commands to the rest of the team, making you feel like the real leader of this ragtag bunch of heroes. The combat is fast, chaotic, and damn satisfying when you pull off team combos. Plus, the way the game integrates the soundtrack into big action scenes, it's so damn good. You'll be blasting through enemies to the sound of 80s classics like Take On Me or Don't Fear the Reaper. And it's honestly perfect. Visually, Guardians of the Galaxy is stunning. The environments are colorful, weird, and exactly what you'd expect from a cosmic adventure with the Guardians. You're traveling to different planets, fighting strange alien creatures, and navigating through some beautifully designed levels. Every new place you visit feels fresh and exciting, keeping you locked into the story. But where this game truly shines is its characters and story. The bond between the Guardians grows as you progress, and you really start to feel like you're part of this dysfunctional family. The dialogue choices give you some control over how Star-Lord interacts with the group, and while the game is linear, these choices keep things engaging and make the story feel personal. If you're looking for a linear game with a killer story, hilarious characters, and some truly epic action sequences, Guardians of the Galaxy is a must-play. It's not just about saving the galaxy, it's about the wild, heartwarming journey you take with your team along the way.
There it is.
Quantum Break. Quantum Break is one of those games that plays with your head in the best way possible. It's not just about running and gunning, it's about manipulating time itself, and that changes everything. You play as Jack Joyce, a guy who basically gets time-bending superpowers after a lab experiment goes wrong. From there, things spiral into a chaotic mix of intense action, insane time powers, and some deep sci-fi storytelling. What sets Quantum Break apart is how it blends two worlds: the fast-paced gameplay and a live-action TV show. Yep, you heard that right. After major plot points, the game switches to live-action episodes where you see how your choices play out. It's a wild idea, and it actually works, keeping you glued to both the gameplay and the story. It makes the whole experience feel more cinematic, like you're right in the middle of this massive time-bending thriller.
Hey, River Boy.
The real fun is in Jack's powers. Stopping time, dodging bullets in a flash, and freezing enemies in place gives the combat this crazy dynamic. You're not just shooting bad guys, you're outmaneuvering them in ways that feel impossible in any other game. It's like you're a superhero, but instead of super strength, you control time itself. And the visuals that go along with it, insane. Watching time fracture around you while buildings crumble and freeze mid-collapse never gets old. The story is classic Remedy, deep, twisting, and filled with more than a few what the hell just happened moments. It dives into the consequences of messing with time and how small changes can have massive effects. Plus, the way the game handles player choices means that your decisions actually matter. You can change how the story unfolds, and that's a big deal when everything's falling apart around you. Quantum Break is also a visual stunner. The time effects, the environmental destruction, and the characters themselves all look fantastic. And while the live action episodes might sound weird at first, they actually add to the immersion, making you feel like you're not just playing a game but living through an intense sci-fi drama. If you're into games that blend storytelling with unique gameplay mechanics, Quantum Break is a must-play. It's bold, it's different, and it does things with time travel that will leave you scratching your head in a good way. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to mess with time?
Some kind of shield! We're gonna...
Ryse Son of Rome. Ryse Son of Rome is one of those games that feels like you're playing through an epic movie about ancient Rome, just with way more brutal combat. You step into the sandals of Marius Titus, a Roman soldier who's out for revenge after his family is brutally murdered. And let me tell you, this game does not hold back. From the very first battle, you're in the middle of massive bloody warfare, and it's glorious in that raw, gritty way only a Roman battlefield can be. The combat in Ryse is all about timing and precision. It's not a hack and slash. You've got to be smart about when to block, when to strike, and when to finish off enemies in these cinematic, brutal execution moves. It's violent, sure, but in a way that really captures the brutality of the Roman era. Every swing of your sword feels heavy, and the executions, they're seriously satisfying. It's like playing through one of those old school gladiator movies, but you're in control of every blow. Visually, Ryse is stunning. The way the game brings ancient Rome to life is insane. From the grand architecture of the city to the grimy, bloody battlefields, everything looks sharp. You feel like you're right there, marching through the mud with your fellow soldiers, surrounded by massive structures and historical details that make the world feel alive. But the real core of Ryse is its story. It's a classic tale of revenge, loyalty, and honor, all wrapped up in the grandeur of Rome's military machine. Marius isn't just a mindless warrior, he's a character driven by purpose. And that makes his journey through betrayal and war hit harder. The story might be linear, but it's tight and focused, driving you forward without any filler. If you're a fan of ancient Rome or just love a good action-packed, story-driven experience, Ryse Son of Rome is a must-play. It's brutal, beautiful, and gives you that feeling of leading a legion into battle, one perfectly timed sword swing at a time. Just be ready for some seriously epic moments and a whole lot of blood. Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is pure adventure from start to finish. Honestly, it feels like you're playing through the best action movie Hollywood hasn't made yet. You step back into the shoes of Nathan Drake, the treasure hunter we all know and love, and this time, the stakes are personal. It's not just about finding lost cities or ancient relics anymore, it's about family, legacy, and whether Nate can leave his dangerous life behind for good. Spoiler, things get complicated real quick.
Faster! Stop arguing! Watch out! Oh,
shit! What makes Uncharted 4 stand out is how it blends jaw-dropping action with a genuinely heartfelt story. Nate's relationship with his brother Sam drives the plot, and you can feel the weight of their history in every interaction. The game digs deep into Nate's past, showing a side of him we haven't really seen before, which gives the whole adventure a more personal, emotional touch. You're not just hunting treasure, you're dealing with family drama, loyalty, and some tough choices. Of course, the action is still as over the top as ever. You'll be scaling cliffs, swinging from ropes, and getting into some of the wildest shootouts imaginable. 1 minute you're dodging gunfire on a motorcycle, the next you're leaping across collapsing bridges. It's non-stop adrenaline, and Naughty Dog knows exactly how to keep you on the edge of your seat. The set pieces are crazy, and just when you think things can't get more intense, they do. Visually, Uncharted 4 is stunning. Every location, whether you're exploring lush jungles, ancient ruins, or city rooftops, looks ridiculously detailed. The game is filled with moments where you just want to stop and take it all in, if you can find a second to breathe between all the action, that is. And the characters? The facial animations and voice acting are top tier, which makes every conversation feel real and grounded, even when things are blowing up around you. The gameplay mixes the series' iconic platforming with some solid gunplay and puzzle solving, but what really shines is the variety. Whether you're sneaking through enemy camps, solving ancient mysteries, or getting into high-speed chases, the game never lets things get repetitive. And let's not forget the hand-to-hand combat. It's simple, but damn does it feel satisfying when you pull off a perfectly timed punch. If you love adventure games or just want to experience a story that hits hard with both action and emotion, Uncharted 4 is an absolute must-play. It's the kind of game that wraps up Nate's story in a way that feels earned, like a true finale to one of gaming's best series. And if you've been with Nate since the beginning, this game is gonna hit you right in the feels.
Have fun.
I will. Gracias.
To the Moon. To the Moon is a beautiful and very emotional game. It's about two doctors, Dr. Rosaline and Dr. Watts, who have a special job. They help people who are about to die by giving them a memory of their biggest dream coming true. This time, they are helping an old man named Johnny. His dream is to go to the moon, but he doesn't know why. You play as the doctors and go through Johnny's memories to find out why he wants this dream. You travel backward through his life, starting from when he's old and going all the way to his childhood. Along the way, you learn about his life, his love for his wife River, and some very touching moments. The game doesn't have fighting or puzzles, it's all about the story. The art is simple and looks like an old pixel game, but it's full of charm. The music is soft and beautiful, making every moment feel even more special. It's a short game, only a few hours long, but it's very powerful. It talks about love, life, and the dreams people have. By the time it ends, you might even feel like crying because it's so moving. To the Moon is perfect if you like games with a strong story. It's different, it's simple, and it's full of heart. If you want a game that makes you feel something, this is one you should try. Until Then. Until Then is a game that feels like a quiet, personal story about friendship and moving forward. It's not loud or flashy, it's about the small, meaningful moments in life that often get overlooked. It pulls you in with its heartfelt story and keeps you engaged with characters who feel real. The game follows a group of old friends who come together after years of being apart. Each person is carrying their own baggage, things they never said, mistakes they regret, or dreams they've given up on. As you play, you guide their conversations and help them deal with what's holding them back. The relationships are the heart of the game, and seeing them grow and change feels rewarding. Gameplay is simple but purposeful. You explore beautifully hand-drawn locations, solve light puzzles, and make choices in conversations. These choices shape the story and how the characters interact. It's not about action or high stakes, it's about the journey, the words exchanged, and the way the characters' stories unfold. The art style is cozy and inviting, with every scene painted in warm, soothing colors. Each area you explore has small details that make it feel alive. Things like handwritten notes, old photographs, or forgotten belongings. The soundtrack matches the mood perfectly, with soft, emotional music that quietly supports the story without overpowering it. What makes Until Then stand out is how personal it feels. It's not just a game, it's an experience about life, friendship, and the moments that shape us. It takes its time, asking you to slow down and reflect. The story isn't rushed, and the emotions hit harder because of it. If you want a game that feels like a comforting storybook with depth, Until Then is a perfect choice. It's a reminder of the power of connection, and by the end, it leaves you with something to think about. Mark of the Ninja. Mark of the Ninja is one of the best stealth games out there. It takes the classic ninja fantasy and makes it feel smooth, smart, and incredibly satisfying. If you love sneaking around, taking out enemies without being seen, and feeling like a true ninja, this game is a must-play. You play as a ninja chosen to protect your clan from a deadly threat. The story is simple but engaging, with a mix of modern tech and ancient traditions that gives it a cool, unique vibe. Along the way, you'll make decisions that can shape how the story ends, which adds a nice layer of replayability. The gameplay is where this game really shines. Every move you make feels precise, from sneaking through shadows to silently taking down enemies. You can climb walls, hide in vents, and use tools like smoke bombs and throwing darts to create distractions. It's all about staying hidden, using the environment to your advantage, and striking at the perfect moment. The levels are beautifully designed with multiple paths and tons of secrets to find. You can go through an area without being seen or take out every enemy. It's up to you. The game rewards you for creativity. Whether you're a silent ghost or a strategic killer, the optional challenges in each level make you think even more about how to approach situations. The art style is clean and stylish with bold, cartoon-like visuals that stand out. The animations are fluid and every movement feels satisfying to watch. The sound design is just as good. Quiet footsteps, the hum of distant guards, and the satisfying whoom of a perfect stealth kill all add to the immersion. Mark of the Ninja is a game that makes you feel powerful without holding your hand. It's challenging but never unfair, and mastering its mechanics feels rewarding. Whether you're new to stealth games or a longtime fan, this is one you can't miss. It's an experience that nails the balance between strategy, action, and style.
Where the lost embers go, as their light begins to fade.
The Last Campfire. The Last Campfire is a sweet and touching game about helping others and finding hope. You play as Ember, a little lost traveler in a big, magical world. Ember's job is to help other lost souls, called Forlorns, who have forgotten how to keep going. Along the way, you'll learn about yourself too. The world feels quiet but full of wonder. There are forests, caves, and ruins to explore, each with its own secrets. Everywhere you go, you meet Forlorns who need your help. Each time you help one, it feels like you're bringing a little light back into the world. To help the Forlorns, you solve puzzles. They're not too hard, but they make you think. Sometimes you'll move blocks, light fires, or figure out how to open doors. Every puzzle is different, and solving them feels really good, like you're making a difference. The game looks so pretty, the colors are soft, and the world feels like it's straight out of a storybook. Even though it's a little sad, it's also very warm and hopeful. The music is calm and peaceful, making the whole experience feel relaxing. What makes The Last Campfire special is how it makes you feel. It's a game about kindness and helping others. Even though it's small and simple, it leaves a big impression. It's like a little story that stays in your heart. If you want a game that's gentle and full of heart, The Last Campfire is a perfect choice. It's short, sweet, and very special. Ryse, a simple story. Ryse, a simple story is one of those games that hits you right in the feels. It's a narrative-driven platformer where you relive the memories of an old man as he reflects on his life after passing away. Each level represents a key moment in his journey: joy, sorrow, love, and loss, and the game takes you through these emotions in a way that's both heartfelt and visually stunning. The gameplay revolves around exploration and time manipulation. You can move forward or backward in time to solve puzzles and navigate the world. For example, you might shift time to grow flowers that form a path or roll back a storm to clear your way. It's a simple mechanic, but it's used so creatively that it never feels repetitive. The art style is breathtaking. Each level is like a living painting with vibrant colors and imaginative landscapes that reflect the emotions of the story. One moment you'll be walking through a field of blooming flowers, and the next you'll be navigating a dark, stormy terrain. The music ties it all together with a hauntingly beautiful score that amplifies the emotional impact of every scene. What makes Ryse stand out is how personal and universal its story feels. It doesn't use dialogue to tell its tale, it relies entirely on visuals, music, and gameplay to convey its themes. It's about life's highs and lows, the memories we hold onto, and the journey we all take. The game is relatively short, but it doesn't need to be longer. It's a tightly crafted experience that leaves a lasting impression without overstaying its welcome. If you're in the mood for a game that's both relaxing and deeply emotional, Ryse, a simple story is worth your time. It's a beautiful journey that reminds you to appreciate the little moments in life.